of suggestion, there's this drawing, something that draws us as human beings to, once we're suggested something, like we're reminded that we have free will and we can do whatever we want. And even though there's boundaries, it's because it's been thrown in there, and our sinful nature is gonna pick up, our flesh is gonna pick up. Oh, there's a suggestion there. We can or we can't. Right, we have the choice, and our flesh is gonna wanna do it, regardless of if we're strong enough to just say no or we don't want to do it. But our flesh is gonna wanna just jump at the chance of doing anything wrong. And so that definitely makes sense. Because there's so much things that grab our minds and grab our attention. Even you see, like, kids nowadays growing up with tablets and growing up with all these. In our days, it was TV, just about TVs, and like had our toys and whatnot. But now kids are growing up on social media and like tablets and iPads and stuff. And you'll see they've even said that children are beginning. There's more cases of like a lack of attention span, low attention span, and all of these things in kids nowadays, because they're so used to things being instant. And with, again, going back to social media things have we have like a microwave society of things being instant. You want to talk to someone, you just pick up your phone and drop them a text and they get it instantly. Or you call someone, instantly get through to them. And we see that in all aspects of our lives, where people are just impatient and want things now. And that's why you see so many people going into like selling drugs and doing illegal things to make money, because it's like, as well as it's difficult to live in this society and to actually live in this system, people are kind of like, well, this is a quick way to make money, and so I can get what I want, so I can get the cars, I can get the houses, I can but then it's all an illusion, because the backlash of that is jail, death, all of these things. So, and it's just this illusion of being placed in this illusion that's been placed, that even with the music videos and all of that, you see nowadays, it's all money focused, it's all jewelry focused, you've got to have as many girls as you want, you've got to have like all this bling, you've got to have all of these things, you've got to have doing all of this stuff to be seen as big. And yeah, like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I wanted to go back and just read this small bit of the psychological trauma, where it says it's a type of damage to the mind that occurs as a result of a distressing event. And trauma is often the result of an overwhelming amount of stress. So I was just thinking about how much violence there is on the street.
Yeah.
The crime, the deaths that have been taking place, like the inhumane murders of lives, lives mean nothing. And that within itself is like another state of trauma, because you don't even necessarily need to be a part of it. You don't need to be in a gang. You don't need to be rolling down the street with a knife or a gun or whatever. Like, you could just be going about your business and you see someone get attacked. And then that is damage to your psychological. And again, we have to remember that we have gateways. Yeah. So, like, certain things that our eyes see open up gateways. And with the eyes, again, it's almost like we have to be mindful of what we're seeing, what we're taking in. Obviously, if you're walking down the road and a crime's happened, you can't prevent what you're witnessing and what you're seeing. But the fact that you've now just been put in a place of trauma, it's what the system wants. So there's been a lot of sparked trauma. And just touching on like your social graphological locations. So for instance, I'm going to throw some stereotypes out there now. If we say Brixton, we think of black people, we think of poverty. Even though Brixton, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like old school Brixton.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Brixton is up and coming now, you know, nice restaurants and that. But yeah, it's almost like your graphical location affects your psychological as well, because if you're in a place where there's a lot of poverty, you know, you've been put in a place of, you've been put in a box where your mentality would be survival. There ain't no much jobs kind of thing, opportunities, so you're forced to act and behave a certain way to gain the standard stuff that others have. I just want to look into post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, a little more, because many of us will experience some line of trauma during our life, as we said earlier, and you know, sometimes we escape with no long-term effects, but for millions of those experiences linger, causing symptoms like flashbacks and nightmares and negative thoughts that interfere with their everyday life. So this is called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's a treatable malfunction of certain biological mechanisms that allow us to cope with dangerous experiences. So to understand PTSD, we first need to understand how the processes and wide range of ordeals, including the death of a loved one, domestic violence, injury or illnesses, abuse, rape, war, car accidents, murder, and even natural disasters. So these events can bring in feelings of danger and helplessness, which activate the brain alarm system. So this is known as the fight, flight, or freeze response. So when this alarm sounds, the hypothalamic, pituitary, and adrenal systems, known as the HPA axis, work together to send signals to the parasympathetic system. That's the network that communicates with the adrenal glands and internal organs to help regulate functions like the heart rate, digestion, and respiration. So these signals start a chemical cascade that floods the body with several different stress hormones, causing psychological changes that prepare the body to defend itself. So our heart rate speeds up, breathing quickens, and muscles tense. Even after a crisis is over escalated levels of stress hormones. Hormones may last for days, contributing to jittery feelings, nightmares, and other symptoms. For most people, these experiences disappear within a few days to 2 weeks, as their hormone levels stabilize, but a small percentage of those who experience trauma have persistent problems, sometimes vanishing temporarily only to resurface months later. We don't completely understand what's happening in the brain, but one theory is that a stress hormone, cortisol, may be continuously activating the fight, flight, freeze response while reducing overall brain functioning. So this is leading to a number of negative symptoms. These symptoms often fall into 4 categories: intrusive thoughts like dreams and flashbacks, avoiding reminders of the trauma, negative thoughts and feelings like fear, anger, guilt, and reactive symptoms like irritability and difficulty sleeping. Not everyone has all these symptoms or experiences them to the same extent and intensity. When problems last more than a month, PTSD is often diagnosed. Genetics, ongoing, overwhelming stress, and many risk factors like pre-existing mental illnesses or lack of emotional support are likely to play a role in determining who will experience PTSD, but the underlying cause is still a medical mystery. A major challenge with coping with PTSD is sensitivity to triggers. physical and emotional stimuli that the brain associates with the original trauma. This can be everyday sensations that aren't inherently dangerous, but prompt powerful physical and emotional reactions. For example, the smell of a campfire would evoke the memory of being trapped in a burning house. For someone with PTSD, that memory activated with the same neurochemical cascades as the original event, that then stirs up the same feelings of panic and helplessness, as if they're experiencing the trauma all over again. So trying to avoid these triggers, which sometimes unpredictable, can lead to isolation that can leave people feeling invalidated, ignored or misunderstood, like a pause button has been pushed on their lives, whilst the rest of the world continues around them. But there is an option if you think you might be suffering from PTSD. The first step is an evaluation with a mental health professional who can direct you to the many resources available. Psychotherapy can be a very effective tool for PTSD. Helping patients better understand their triggers and certain medications can make symptoms more manageable, as can self-care practices like mindfulness and regular exercise. So what if you notice signs of PTSD in a friend or family member? Social support, acceptance and empathy are key to helping and recovery. Let them know you believe their account of what they're experiencing and that you don't blame them for their reactions. If they're up for it, encourage them to seek evaluation and treatment. PTSD has been called the hidden wound because it comes without outward physical signs, but even if it's an invisible disorder, it doesn't have to be a silent one. There are useful organisations and services to assist support and self-help in surviving trauma. So the helpline number is 01788 560 800. That's 01788 560 800. That's the helpline number, and then we also have a telephone number which is 01788 551 919. That's 01788 551 919. And the website is www.assisttraumacare.org.uk. So this website supports, understands and therapy for people experiencing PTSD, families and carers. British Association for Behavioural and Cognitive Psychotherapies, or BABCP, also have a telephone number which is 01617 974484. That's 01617 974484. Their website is also www.babcp.com. So this promotes the development of the theory and practice of behavioural and cognitive psychotherapies. It can provide details for accredited therapists, and there's a full directory of psychotherapists available online also.
There's always still, it's been 3 years, and there's a part of my brain that's always trying not to think about the rape in my everyday life.
To me, it was a trauma, and it's a trauma that will have permanent impacts on my life.
Strangely, my main trigger is getting unknown phone calls, because when I was dealing with the legalities of my specific case, I would get these unknown calls, which was from my attacker trying to contact me personally. And so now whenever I get unknown numbers from work, I never pick them up, which is annoying because, you know, I need them for work.
There was, when I was living in Brighton just after I was raped, a guy who worked in the supermarket who had the exact same haircut as the person who attacked me, and I basically just didn't go shopping for a while. I avoided it.
Various things trigger that, one of them being that this person is often, or sometimes,